Hey. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Effing Growth live stream, episode 55. Those numbers just keep climbing and climbing on our quest to 100. What's up, everybody? We got Joe in the house. My name is Raymmar Tirado, and today we're going to talk all about how you can clone your way to the top of Webflow. Both Joe and I used clonable websites, and we still use the Cloneable Showcase a ton. It's led to big events. It's led to us kind of building our presence in the community, and we're going to share how and why and what you can do to use clonable websites to do the same thing for your Webflow career. So before we get too far into this thing, let's effing grow. Okay, what's going on, Joe?
Hello. Clonable day.
Clonable. Nice. Yeah,
I love clonables.
Don't we all? I think it's gotta be like one of the most underrated features. I know it's popular and I know it's a big thing, but I feel like it doesn't get the love it should. And so maybe this episode will be like the first step in giving it the love. And I know you all love it if you're watching and work with Webflow regularly. But let's say what's up to some folks in the audience here. What's up, Saber? Jay Poucher in the house. Hello, Magdalena. Gabe Perez is here. Hola, chat. Maria. Hello, Maria. Frank is in the house. Felix, what's up? Colleen Brady, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So close to 10,000. I know. Let's look at this live count. Oh, we're going to miss it. We're going to miss it, Joe. We need 28 subscribers by the end of this episode, or else we're not going to hit our goals. And I hate to not hit goals.
We're so close. We set this goal, end of January, I think.
Yeah.
We were a few hundred away. So we're so close. We have until the end of the show to reach this 10,000.
Unofficial.
So yeah, if you're watching this right now and you're not subscribed, you have to subscribe. You got to help us do this by the end of the show.
Yeah, come on. What are you waiting for? Okay, and it's something like 40% of y'all are not subscribed who are watching this. So anyway, if you're watching it now or in the future, we'd appreciate that. Eric in the house, we're going to leave the subscriber count so we can watch it go up as we go through the rest of this stuff. Okay, Penny, what's up? Hey, how's your day? It's going well. Rohan's in the house. Robert's here. What's up, Kayla? Victoria? Fernando, Kyle's in the house. What's up, Vales? Hey, Emily, great design lead. Oh, by the way, got a podcast coming out with Emily this Wednesday. She and I did a conversation on Saturday. She goes super deep on those interviews, Joe, just like you said. She had questions ready for me all the way through. So again, a unique take on that. Aida in the house, Eli, Mark, Aman, what is up, Ezekiel Rochat, Michael Collins. Woo, let's go. Okay, so a couple real quick announcements, right? I think we have just a couple things to share today.
We do. All right, we can start with the events. And we have today at 1:30 EST Webflow show. So that is around 15 to 30 minutes after we end this stream. You're going to hop right into Twitter. Webflow show. Raymmar's going to be there. Yeah. So Raymmar, what's this all about?
Colleen and I are actually going to be talking about events in the Webflow community, specifically the open house that's coming up. So we're going to talk about how people can get involved, what the agenda is going to look like. All these links are in the description, by the way. So everything we talk about is, and hopefully from here on out, will just all be in the description. So you can link to Twitter, or you can get the link to the Twitter show right there in the description. And again, we're just going to be talking about all the different events we do and highlighting the open house. And speaking of open house, we have the open house coming up March 24th. So we'll give you a little rundown here. We do still want some help and support from the community. So if you'd like to, you can get an overview. Again, all these links are in the description of the video. This is what we'll be going over during that Twitter show. So we'll be kind of going over everything. What is the global open house? What is our goal? The reason we did this event last year was to help all the different global meetup organizers recruit and bring people in to their meetup. And so kind of the same goal this year. There's lots of people that host communities and lots of people looking to get involved with communities. And sometimes that matchmaking isn't always super easy. And so we're going to talk about community and no code. And then we're going to have a bunch of cool breakouts. I won't reveal who's on it. Next week we'll give you a tease of like who actually is going to be there, but it's the who's who of Webflow. You can just expect. There was like 225 people last year. We expect to kind of blow that out this year. So anyway, and if you'd like to get involved, right? If you're interested in getting involved, again, this link is in the description. We can still use folks who want to volunteer, who want to help, maybe staff a support desk. Maybe you have a meetup and you'd like to be featured or host a breakout. Like, we're looking for all that. So there's still plenty of time to get involved. Again, this is coming up March 24th. Yeah, I think that's that. So we'll leave the open house. If you're interested, oh, go ahead, Joe.
I'd love to add to that before we close up here. Today, we're talking about clonables and how you can contribute to the community with clonables. This may not be the right move for everybody. And if it's not the right move for you, this is the opportunity to get involved. This is the opportunity to get close to the community without doing clonables. It's for some people, it's not for others. Get involved with this. You do this year after year, you get involved with more events, and people will know who you are, which is a lot of people's goal for clonables.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is super important. I remember the people that were there helping last time.
Yep.
And other people will remember you too.
Yeah. And the cool thing about this is you don't never know who you're going to bump into. Last year, there was impromptu meetups. Like, there was like a Germany meetup that popped up. Vlad was walking around. Brian Chu was walking around. A bunch of Webflow folks will be there. A bunch of people from the community. So come meet all your favorite Webflowers at that event. And again, if you're interested in learning more about that, tune into the Webflow show on Twitter right after this. All the details, again, are in the description here. So next week, Thursday, we are going to be learning about interactions. I don't have an image for this. We're going to be adding interactions to a client-first template. So we're going to add like a slide out sidebar. We're going to add a custom modal, and I think there's, oh yeah, a scroll, like a kind of call to action on scroll. So if you're interested in learning about interactions and how that might fit into the client-first templates that you're using, join us on Thursday. I'll be actually doing some of that. I've prepared I love interactions in Webflow, so maybe too much sometimes. So I'll be covering the basics, and we'll just kind of be talking about that. And we'll probably have a little bit of time to answer questions or maybe even add some embellishments. So feel free to join us for that Thursday. Let's see. The Growth Podcast is now available on every major platform. So if you want to listen to these in audio format, again, we're releasing one episode a day until we catch up. So if you haven't caught our previous episodes, this may be a good time to go and catch up and listen to one of those as we go. All that content, most of the content is evergreen, so enjoy that. And then let's do one last check in on this subscriber count to see where we're at. Oh no, where's my cursor? Come on, get over here. All right, 9. Oh, look at this.
No
okay,
way.
We're 17 away. We're totally going to hit this by the end of the show. Come on, y'all. We could do this. Gabe is saying
17.
Yeah, come on now. We can do this by the end of the show. Okay, Zeb Miller. Heck yeah, I've watched the archive and have finally made it to a live video. Welcome, Zeb. We're glad you're here. Brandon Tancot's in the house. Hello. Let's see. Yeah, Colleen Brady saying a number of the folks helping make the open house are here in the chat. For sure. All of the OG folks, Brandon Tancot's in the house, Maria, Mirela's usually here. Let's see if I can see who else. Penny, what's up? Just the folks that are on our planning committee, Jay Poucher. So anyway, that's going to be a ton of fun. Let's get into the show here. Disclaimer number 1, Joe.
Your first clonable site may not be a big hit. People may not clone it. People may not care about it. And that's really normal. I think if you're releasing your first clonable, it's just not going to, there's a high likelihood that it's not going to be this amazing, awesome clonable. Putting out clonables is all about consistency and continued quality. So you may fail on your first 10, but then your 11th one is pretty good. And now people start checking out clonables 1 through 10. That's very normal. So disclaimer, this is not instant success. I think it's the opposite of instant success.
Yeah, it does stack. That's one of the cool things about this. You'll see, and we'll kind of talk about our stories. Like Joe and I are both going to go into our background here in using clonables, and you'll see anyway, it takes time, just like everything. You're probably not going to hit a home run on your first at bat. So anyway, stick with it. Disclaimer number 2. is that what worked for us may not work specifically for you. So the goal here is to give you some insights, and you are the ones to apply it in a meaningful way for how it works in your workflow, for your career. There's all sorts of different things you can do with the Cloneable Showcase. We'll even talk about some of those business models or the different methods and why and all that. So just apply this to your world, right? Don't just take what we do and try to replicate exactly what we did, because that almost never works again, right? You have to take this and make it your own to really kind of run with that. So I think that's it for disclaimers, right, Joe?
Yeah, let's get into the audience prompt. And the audience prompt is, how often do you visit the Webflow Showcase?
Yeah.
How often are you looking for clonables, fishing for that nice clonable that you can use on your next project or to learn something new? Wow. That's, I think as I got more and more experience with Webflow, I started cloning less and less.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, hey, how do I make this? Let me go search for a clonable of something similar. I would just know how to build it, and I would go and build my own.
Yeah.
So I think this is a changing answer, but I guess we're asking right now, in this point in time, how often are you in that Webflow Showcase?
Yeah. Yeah, and let us know in the comments. Are you making clonables? Are you cloning regularly? I know I have. Let's see. Yannick is saying once a day. Yeah, I go to that showcase pretty regularly. I at least go to look, right, because it's a great place to see other talent. People go there to search for folks they might hire. I can't tell you the number of leads. I still pass on leads every once in a while to the Finsweet team that come from people looking at my clonable stuff, and they reach out, and I'm like, hey, I'm not taking projects, but we can maybe help you over here. So Michael Collins says, whenever I have a new project or idea that I want to build, yeah, it's a great source for inspiration. So for sure, keep letting us know how you find value in the showcase and clonable stuff as we go through this. But for somebody who might kind of be new to Webflow, Joe, let's explain a little bit about like what is a clonable, and we won't dive into like too deep because we'll get to that. But what is the basics of a clonable, and how do you do that in Webflow?
Sure, the clonable is a setting you can put on your Webflow project to allow others to duplicate it. So you can have any type of Webflow project, and when you turn on make this clonable, this is now saying this is public. People can copy this, people can do what they want for this. And this is what Raymmar has described as open source design, which I think is a really interesting term and a really interesting way to think about it. It's a way for you to design something, share it, and then have others experience that, whether that's through education, whether that's through just being cool, trying something new, experimental. So this, I believe the clonable nature of Webflow is why the community is so strong. This is a core base of this powerful community.
Yeah.
Because this is a way that you can communicate without words. You can communicate in code. You can communicate in design. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I just realized that this Webflow video is showing Alex Iglesias multi-step form here.
Nice.
That's cool. I didn't know that. So shout out to Alex Iglesias for that multi-step form there. But yeah, I agree 100%. The ability to clone, it's a unique marketing channel, and I don't think people see it as a marketing channel. I think they just see it as a tool, and maybe they see the educational part of it. But yeah, I want to look at some of these comments here real quick, because Mark Brutus is saying they a couple times a week for inspiration and deconstruct to learn 100%. Veos is saying with each coffee he's going to the showcase. Let's see, Richard, wasn't that the point of the pro account? You still get that with the growth account. I know it's a little bit of a price increase. You can go check out our episode on that, but yeah, you can still get unlimited clonables there. Let's see, Alicia, I've never directly cloned, always looked at how things are to build and learn. Yeah, it's great. Every week, yeah, me and my buddy are working, Matt Carson is saying, on a clonable solution for CMS-driven real estate maps. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. This is a good question from Brandon. How does a clonable differ to a theme? Joe, do you want to take that? I got some thoughts there if not.
Sure. Let's break this down. I think a clonable is something really specific to Webflow. When we use the term clonable in this context in the Webflow ecosystem, we're talking about what I described before, a project with a setting turned on that allows others to copy it, essentially making it open source.
Mm.
A theme could be a clonable. You could have a clonable that gives you a Webflow theme, in a sense that you have your style pages, your guide, your couple layouts. So these are not the same thing.
Yeah.
They are two different things. Raymmar, what do you have to add to that?
Yeah, there's no really such thing as a theme in Webflow. In like Squarespace and in WordPress and in some of these other platforms, because you don't have nuanced control of the CSS and all the different elements, because you're using kind of a baked in CMS, you apply a theme and that theme kind of cascades throughout. Those become your global styles. So in WordPress, a theme basically sets all your global styles, where in Webflow, you have to outline and set those yourself, which kind of becomes some of the complexity, right? That's the having a true understanding of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript versus just styling a theme, right? So the theme also does things like the responsiveness. It gives you different components you can use and styled elements. I think eventually there will be themes with Webflow, especially once you get into like being able to like connect symbols to the CMS and stuff. But right now there is no like theming for Webflow. You have to go and change all those global styles. Whereas with a theme, usually you can just install a new theme and it replaces all the global styles at once. So there are also templates in Webflow, which people can use as themes, I guess. Like a lot of times people use a template kind of in the same way. They like the look of a template and they'll kind of mix and match and build pages out. But I still don't think that's exactly like a theme. So hopefully that answers your question, Brandon. Let's see. Great Design Lead is saying, go to Francesco Castronovo if you want clonables. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, nice clonables.
Vimilan gets it. Clonables are a good way to market yourself. Show, not tell. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah, what's up, Tio? Creating clonables is a great way to learn new skills, help people find clients. Exactly, Peter, for sure. Okay, so now that we know what clonables are and we know a little bit about, you know, we don't need to go through the process. Like jump on this page from Webflow. They'll walk you through the process. Super easy. You just go to a page and you click clone this site and it'll clone it into your dashboard. So let's jump into story time here, Joe. Let's talk a little bit about kind of our experience with, using clonables. So let's just take a moment and go back and forth. I know you basically Finsweet, it's got to be one of the most cloned groups. I don't know how they qualify that, but I remember at the end of, was it the 2020 year review or whatever, we had 2 out of the top 3 most cloned websites. I doubt that's changed just based on the total volume. So talk to me a little bit about how you've seen clonables as a strategy for growing Finsweet, and just a little bit of your story as you go through some of these different clonables that you've put out.
Sure. The first clonable that was put out was Finsweet Webflow hacks. And this was a huge project. I didn't start small. It took me a long time to get from I'm learning Webflow to I'm posting a clonable. I think 3 years, which I thought was way too much time, right? If I could go back, I wish that I could go and just release some small clonables, test it out, see what's up. But this was the first one, what Raymmar is showing right now. This is redesigned. This is not the original design that we came up with. But this is the same project. If you go and clone the project, you will see that it's from 2019. It has a whole bunch of clones. And this was really strategic. It was part marketing. It was part showing the skill that we had, the ability to write some code inside of Webflow, and of course, to help the community. We could still do all this and not put it as a clonable, but we spent the extra time to put it as a clonable.
Yeah.
Now, really something that was really strategic in posting hacks was this idea of having multiple solutions inside one project. This was not common when this was released. Usually people release clonables and it's one component. It's a slider component or a single hack, or it has a whole template, of different pages. But it was rare to see multiple solutions, multiple options inside one clonable. And I thought about this process for so long. I was excited about it and I went for it. And guess what? When I first released it, nobody cared about it. I think these videos had like less than 50 views. Yeah, I need that. I need that. I'm telling you, that first year, I think most of these videos and trainings had less than 50 views. That's how low this was. But now this is something we still get traffic from. We have some people that actually find Finsweet today from the work that was done in 2019. And that's where we talk about this compounding value of these clonables. If you make a good clonable, you're not just going to make it and it dies. You're going to make it, and sometime in the future, there's going to be a future benefit to that. And yeah, I think this is a great example.
Yeah. And this is just a fun site too, as you can see with the little drag and drop stuff. It's just like a playful site. Um, yeah, it just, and obviously this wasn't the first iteration, but it just goes to show how things evolve and how big a marketing asset this can become. Let's take a quick peek here. Just, oh, okay. I'm not getting excited. Okay. All right, so carry on. So where'd you go from here? So Finsweet hacks, and I feel this so hard because I think a lot of people, they put out one clonable and they're like, "Here we go, world, let's see it." And then maybe like 3 people clone it. You're like, "Oh man, what the hell? I just put all this time into it." And then maybe they put another one, and maybe 8 people clone it, or 10 people clone it, but they don't really get that traction they want, and maybe they walk away from it rather than, I know it was like lots and lots and lots and lots of clones for me before I even got close, to getting one that had like 50 or 100 or like, and then it goes back, right? It goes back and forth. Like sometimes now, every time people find me, they go and like 30 people clone that no code video site each month now. So it's like, just one of these things that you have to build up a little bit, right? So, do you want to talk about any of these other ones? I mean, we've had some big collaborations with some major numbers on some of these, like, from a clonable standpoint, 4,400 clones on the Weglot collaboration, which is a super cool website again. And these are just great to learn from. Like just going in here and being able to dissect some of these things and how this stuff was built. It's like, especially this site. This site is one of those, especially on desktop. This is just a powerful website, that's super fun. And that was a great collaboration, and it's super cool. I think this is the first time, I don't know many businesses who build sites like this and then they're like, here, have it to the world. Usually when a company invests in a marketing asset as beautiful as this site, they're like, we don't want anybody to touch that. That's ours. You can't see that. No, you can't, so to give that away, I think that's a new change in that marketing channel, which is exactly what, Vimalon was saying back here. It's a good way to market and show yourself. We talk about, like, nobody cares about who you are or what you are if the work you deliver does, what it's supposed to do. So, yeah. Any other parts of that story you want to share, Joe, or anything else you want to go into here on this? Because it's kind of been an evolution, right? It went from there into CMS library, right? And that CMS library, look, now we're getting into 7,200 clones. Yeah. That's crazy. And this is like been replaced now by attributes, which is a whole nother ball of wax. And the attributes has just a ton of different clonables. And now all these different, like, look at this, the different components, filter select elements, like it just, there's so many here, Joe. So like, is there anything else like specifically just about these and the impact they've had on just the operation itself before I jump into some of the other ones?
There are a lot of unexpected results. For example, the Weglot project, that was primarily built as a marketing tool, right? Weglot approached us, said, we want to release something cool for marketing. What can we do in Webflow? And we said, let's do something wild. Let's do something that's never been done before and just build you the most impressive page that we can build you. And that was the goal. We never thought that this would be an education tool. This was never the plan. But actually, I think more people value this as an education tool than a marketing a marketing thing. If it's just marketing, you don't learn from it, great, you may forget it. But I know there are people that clone this, picked every single piece of it apart, probably rebuilt some of the interactions, probably just reverse engineered what our super pro developers did with this. And that was unexpected, this education part. And I think clonables naturally give this education side to it, and unexpected. We didn't have to do anything. We didn't have to try extra to make this an educational tool, but it's baked in to the clonable infrastructure. So that's a story for Weglot. I think that there's similar types of stories for many of our clonables, that they had really unexpected results, whether it was getting a different client, a new client that found us through that, or somebody that wanted to join Finsweet, the team, wanted to join us as a team member because they saw one of the clonables. This can happen. Some of you may be okay with just one big win from your clonable. One person can contact you from a single clonable, and it's all worth it, right? You don't need big numbers.
100%. I think that's the thing, right? It's and having a a good little portfolio of these. So let's go. Yeah, like I remember when I started with Webflow and I just got excited and I was like, let me just build a homepage. And it was super simple and there's not a lot here, but I was playing with some basics, so I'm playing with some basic scroll interactions. And I had already understood basic principles of web design, and so I wanted to learn how to apply these principles inside of Webflow. And this became a playground for me. And so I started playing with the interactions, the color changing background. That was something that I saw in Webflow, and I was like, I need to learn how to do that because it's just such a subtle effect, but it makes it's cool. It's interesting. And then to be able to make like little modals like this, these are kind of ugly now, and I'm not super excited about this, but these were my first ever attempts at interactions. And again, then another color change when I get to the bottom. And so this was after 6 months of beating my head against Webflow, I finally came up with this and I was like, okay, I think I have a little bit of some knowledge here now of what you can do with this platform. And the one for me that really kicked it off is this. This was the first clonable that I created that got attention. I found these illustrations by this guy, Patrick Wojciechowski. I'm sorry, Patrick. And I saw something on the WeTransfer website. I think I mentioned this the other day that I saw something on the WeTransfer website. I built this in like 10 minutes. And if you look inside of here, I'm going to open this in Webflow. And when you see, this is like literally just 4 elements. Hello, there's the section here. There's on 3 elements. There's a card wrap, there's a description text, and then there's the fixed text. So these are both kind of just describing it. But the card wrap itself is just 3 divs and this card wrap element. And you can create such a beautiful look for that. And I was just like, okay, this is not a game anymore. This is like the real deal. And so that's when I started really sharing things on social and telling my friends, I started bragging like, oh my God, you have to learn about this platform. And this is where my evangelism started. This is where my friends started getting tired of oh my God, shut up about Webflow. We understand, which from there led to this one after the no code comp, which was really where people started kind of getting their interest peaked. I built something that basically replicates YouTube. Here we go, how to clone our way to the top. We got our videos playing up there, but then I started pulling in all these other videos. And so I leveraged other people's content and I started aggregating content. And we see other people doing this where you can now go and see, okay, here's some live stream. You want some opinion, some opinion-based stuff, cool little tags. And again, I'm just playing with how to build an interface. I never imagined I'd be able to build a custom interface like this from scratch. And so that just got really excited to me. And that ability to just, share with folks is really how I got so excited about this community. And that's what led us to CloneComp. We can kind of see this CloneComp thing here. We did a speed building challenge as part of a meetup. And here's Colleen, actually, this is the CloneComp kickoff from 2020. We did the speed building challenge, and after that, we started thinking what could we do to make this more interesting? Because, we just wanted to take it to the next level, and that's where we came up with this idea for CloneComp. How do we build a competition that's Webflow specific, that engages every piece of what Webflow is and can become, and how do we turn that into something fun? And so we did. We did CloneComp. Where are those pages?
And Raymmar, you may be happy to know that we have hit 10,000 subscribers.
We did what?
We are in. We're in.
Hold up.
Confirmed.
Let's count it up. Let me just. We need like a... Okay, so we got to figure out something cool to do for the community now. We honestly, I thought we missed it, so we kind of like tabled our celebration here, but let's go. 10,000 in the house. Okay, nice. All right. So there's nothing special. We don't have like confetti, or we're not like throwing a pizza party, but y'all can order pizza and celebrate with us. We'll think of something special for to celebrate this. So we will. We'll think of something. Maybe we'll draw some names out of a hat and give something cool away or something. Who knows? Okay, so back to, let's see how many tabs. Oh yeah, CloneComp. So yeah, thanks everyone. Crowds go wild. We appreciate y'all, every one of you for showing up live or listening in the future. Honestly, this has been such a fun path getting to this point over the last year. This has been cool. I think at the beginning of last year we had something like 3,000 subscribers. The traffic's growing year over year, month over month. It's super fun to look at some of these stats, especially when you consider not necessarily the number of views, but the total time people are watching. So thank you for everyone. Once again, go ahead.
This is the same time that we started releasing clonables. With the release of Finsweet hacks, those were our first YouTube videos, the videos showing hacks. I think that was about 3 years ago. I saw 2019 is when we started hacks here. So this is 3 years, and you heard Raymmar, we were at 3,000 at last year, a year ago. That's a huge increase, and the clonables follow this same graph that we're looking at right here. So look at all that time where nothing has happened, and now something is happening.
Yeah, and right. I mean, look through all the way through, just even like halfway through 2020. You know, this is just literally as we climb up here, just 1,000 subscribers. You know, so it's really like getting into that, right? So the beginning of 2021, we're at that 3,500 mark, and then bang, you know. So, and this is going to keep going up and to the right here, I do believe. So, yeah, thanks everyone. Appreciate that. Let's get back into CloneComp and talking about clonables, because this is kind of the culmination of all that, right? Like a lot of the stuff that we do in events, a lot of the things that we build, like these just became toys for us to explore and push the limits. And CloneComp for 2 years now has been like, there's not another event like it. You know, I don't know if, you know, I got to give Colleen and Joe credit. That first year pulling this thing off, like getting that first CloneComp off the ground and doing what we did with it. None of us knew what we were expecting. We just knew we wanted to do something cool. We didn't know how the competition would go over. And we ended up with like 100 and how many, like 106 submissions, I think it was. Let me see if I can. Yeah. Well, from all over the world. Right. And we gave away tons of prizes. Last year, I think we gave away almost $25,000 in prizes. Let's see. Yeah, $21,450 in just cash, and cash prizes. So, you know, like, and think about that. That all comes back from literally falling in love with cloning, figuring out how to make this engaging, how to take this learning / sharing / building experience and almost like gamify it so that you could create an interactive thing. And if you don't know anything about CloneComp, it's like a 3-day story, 3-day story event. So essentially everyone starts from a base clonable, which is like a blank canvas. We provide some assets and some colors, and then every day we release a new part of the story. And you have to build something that relates to that story and uses the required assets. Wow. And then the next day, you have to pick up where somebody else left off. So on day 2, you're not allowed to pick up where you left off the day before. You have to pick up where somebody else left off. So now you have to dive into somebody else's project. You have to understand how they built it. You have to understand what they were thinking, and maybe you use their assets, their illustrations, whatever it is, to work that into your next project. And that continues for 3 days. And at the end of the 3 days, we get this really broad set of like, let's look at this gallery and look at some of the projects that we get. And again, these are all clonable for other people to learn and explore. So you're making a game out of being able to clone and explore these things. Tito, shout out to Tito, the CloneComp champ this past year. And they're just amazing story-driven sites. Joe, thoughts of CloneComp? Like as I'll share some of this as maybe you chat a little bit about CloneComp.
It's something that I don't think cloning was intended for this, but it works so well. The gamification of these clonables. It's so rare to find something that's fun in this space. The how do I put this? If you have a Figma copy, or you're downloading a Bootstrap copy of something, how do you make that fun? How do you make that engaging in a short period of time? Look at this site here. Look at what we're able to do in a 24-hour period. Having this many people engaged in these story-driven sites in building of Webflow, it's really amazing. It's tiring seeing how much passion and energy goes into this. It it's a really amazing experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just so unique. Like people build games inside of here, and so this is really where we're pushing the limits of Webflow, right? This is where you push yourself as a creator, as a person in the community. Like I know people landed work from their efforts in CloneComp. Like folks have come back to us and said, "Hey, by participating in CloneComp, I landed the job at this startup," or so and so reached out to me and I landed XYZ project, or just any number of things that like happen from just a little bit of exposure that comes from doing this. And that's just a microcosm of what's available every day inside of that Webflow showcase, right? Like this is the place, this is ground zero for showing off your work. For a long time, I didn't even have, and actually even to this day, I don't have, my personal website doesn't have much about Webflow. This is how all my clonable sites are. That's my portfolio. I started exploring with, I remember this one, actually, this was a cool one. This thing was the first one that got, I think Vlad retweeted this. This was like a little book. This is all built out of divs, literally all divs in Webflow, just a book that follows your cursor. And as you scroll, it closes in the background. And then you've got these cool little things that just come through.
Nice.
Yeah. And so it's just, I don't know. I'm beating a dead horse here. The power of being able to build, first of all, with Webflow, but then to be able to take and share some of that work with others. Let's get into that next step. Why they're so important, Joe, because I think that's what we keep talking about here. So let's run down some of those specifics we outlined about, like, because it's not just about showing your work. People are building their businesses around clonables. These become marketing assets for folks. Joe, talk a little bit about like the different reasons here why it's important to do some of this.
I like to think of 3 reasons why we create clonables, why anybody should create clonables. And your clonable can have all 3 of these. It can have just one, it could have 2, but these are the reasons. This is why you would do it. Number 1, a functional component or feature. For example, a custom slider, a nav component, a JavaScript snippet, or even a full website project, like a full template. So this is functional. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to maybe learn from it. I may be able to use this on my project. We do a lot of this at Finsweet. This is our primary type of clonable. Number 2, creative, experimental, educational, or just showing off. This is an example of, let's say, a wild effect, some custom cool interaction, some beautiful art piece. For example, our Weglot project. For example, what Raymmar has on the screen right now. These were created with the intention of being creative, experimental, educational, and yeah, showing off. That was kind of the point of this. That was the goal, to show something really cool that you can do with this new CSS property. And we also have these. Some of them are functional, some of them are creative, some of them are both. And then number 3 reason to make a clonable is marketing and advertising. Some people use clonables as a way to get leads, as a way to market themselves to the community, to be seen as a pro, as somebody helpful, as somebody valuable. And for example, this would be like us releasing our attributes clonables. Yes, it's functional. We want you to use it on your next project, but also this is marketing. We're releasing each one separately to say, hey, we have 10 different clonables that you can start with, and now you're looking right at attributes. And this is a great way to market your business. Certainly not the only way. You don't have to ever make a clonable in your life, and you can have a very, very successful business. But if you're into clonables, this is a path to build your brand as an agency or an individual. So those are the 3 reasons: functional, creative, and or marketing.
Yeah.
Raymmar, did I miss anything?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I think that hits the core of it. And I mean, we've seen this over and over. And here's the thing, like, you can't just make something clonable and expect like, oh, I'm gonna win, right? Like, if you look at the stuff that performs in the clonable showcase, it has some character. It has a story to it, right? It is more than just, you know, a little clonable thing, right? Like the ones that click, like if we go to, what is it, just Webflow showcase, and we click on the popular stuff. Let's see, popular, recent, let's go to most liked. Like these things were all just beautiful projects. Like, hey, there's the Weglot one. You know, and so like you got to also catch people's attention here. This is what we talk about when it comes to building your portfolio. Hold up. Just hit the 100 viewers mark. Okay. So this is like, and if you look at a lot of the early people, a lot of the people who are leading this community right now, this is where they started, right? And I don't know if this is where a year from now, the people who are leading the community will also have started, but there are always new people coming in, right? I think what you're seeing now, the people who are leading the community are playing in the content space. You know, you're seeing them do things like the Webflow show or Webflow parties or hosting a meetup or whatever. But there's different ways you can approach kind of this community and to grow your presence inside of it. But the one thing you'll find out about all of those is that they have a little bit of uniqueness, right? Like our disclaimer at the beginning, you can't just go out and say, I'm going to rebuild the Weglot site and then make that clonable and then I'll be just as cool as Finsweet. No, it's not going to happen, right? Because you can't recreate what's already been there. What you have to do is you have to look for what's missing, right? Look around, be extremely observant about what's happening in the sphere and find a thing. Like I saw a guy the other day, I forget who it was that posted about like a little feature request they'd like to see to be able to clip and copy. And I shared that in the team. I'm like, hey, is this something we could build in the extension? And Alex is like, yeah, we can put that in the backlog. And literally like a couple hours later, I go back to the thing and somebody had already created it from the community. And I'm sure that sharing that little asset got tons of eyeballs on that person. And that wasn't something they planned. That wasn't some big thing. But like those are the places where you can find a unique opportunity to just fill a gap, right? Finsweet has built a big business between filling the gaps from what the Webflow platform is and what you need to do, or what you like, the things you need to be able to sell high level Webflow sites. That's where, again, CMS library started, and that evolves into attributes. Attributes is becoming, you know, like a standard, right? It's just, it's huge. The number of times this things get cloned along with client first, like that's it, right? And so you got to find out, where can you be the pioneer? Where can you be the original person that does something unique that then catches the attention of the entire community? Joe, any thoughts on that?
In addition, where can I provide value? You need that unique side, absolutely. If there is an existing clonable that does the same thing, nobody cares. On top of the unique, somebody has to look at your clonable and say, this is valuable. It's either valuable because I'm going to clone it and it really love this creativity, love this custom effect, love looking into the project and dissecting it, or this is really valuable because I'm going to use this on my next client project or the client project I'm working on now. And this, I think, it's where you have to start off. What can I create that's valuable? Because that's why people clone projects, because there is some perceived value in that clonable, right? If you didn't find value in it, you just look at the read-only link or you just look at the published site, but you're cloning it because there's something in there. So you need to find that. And there's a high likelihood that if you need it in your business, other people need it in their business.
Yeah.
So if you keep doing something, spend some time, make a clonable out of it. And if other people need that same thing, they're going to go to your clonable every time they need it.
Yeah.
That's how I like to look at it. Just let's go value based here.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too. Stan mentions it here. Would not be good to also mention that store clonables on your account. You have to have a growth account. Yes, if you want to have unlimited clonables, you do need the growth plan now. If you're on the pro plan, there is a coupon code that you can keep the pro plan pricing moving forward. But again, we did a whole episode on that, so we're not going to dive into it here. But I did want to talk about storing these clonables because I have a folder in my Webflow dashboard that's just as components. And anytime I go into that showcase and I see something cool, I clone it. Even if I don't have time to look at it right there, it's like, oh, this is neat. I might be able to use this later, whether I want to like reverse engineer it or I just want to look at it, or maybe I just wanted to understand class naming. That was the biggest thing before Client First and before I started understanding anything about like how to name classes. I would just go into people's projects and look at their organizational structure. Like I would literally just look to see, okay, how are they dividing the sections? How are they naming this? Like, where are they applying the padding? And that's where you start to learn and see and kind of fill out for yourself. And so, again, you know, you can't overstate the educational power of this and the resources it becomes as you build a library of this stuff. I mean, there's people that are building entire libraries. Speaking of building entire libraries, like there's people building entire businesses off of this right now, right? Like we talked with the Reloom folks a few weeks back on a Learn It Live. There's things like Flowbase out there, you know, these big, you know, libraries of things that people are building. And I think this will increase. You know, people are talking about that, going back to that question about themes in the beginning of the show. This is where I think themes will play. Like you'll be able to grab little components and little styles. There will be entire libraries and marketplaces just for these little components with built-in interactions, maybe one day with built-in logic, who knows, with, you know, like all sorts of different stuff. So I don't know if I triggered anything there, Joe, or you have any thoughts on just, you know, some of the unique use cases that people have for creating stuff like this. But yeah, I really think, you know, the clonables need more attention from Webflow. I think they would shoot themselves in the foot if they limited the accessibility of that. I don't think it's something they're planning on, but I would like to see the showcase get more love.
Of course. Showcase is very important, and it's amazing to see a company like Reloom creating this product on top of the idea of sharing components. It's not necessarily a clonable where you clone their entire project, but you're able to select different things and then put them on your site.
Yeah.
This is greatly inspired by Cloneables and this idea of sharing. And I know that they are making money from Reloom Library, the product, and their agency, Reloom, must be extra successful because of their library. I'm sure that they have brought a lot of business to their agency side, aside from the library, because of the library. And I think this is just a really well-executed way to share and give clonables and interact with the community with these components.
Yeah, and I guess that I don't know why I kept thinking the Reloom stuff was ultra clonable, but I still think it even goes to the copy and paste thing, because the copy and paste in my mind is like a mini version of the clonable stuff, because the clonable stuff is like if you need the whole thing. But I think just that little copy and paste element too, just being able to take something out of one project and drop it into another project is, again, just a feature that I don't think we understand the full value of what that means until, you know, this product is fully developed and you're cloning full stack software, right? Because imagine baked in membership, imagine, you know, the logic is built into the site, imagine you have now, you know, some subscriptions or some e-commerce or something.